ball. Seldom in the history of sports, seldom in the history of the world, seldom in the history of the universe has a hunk of pork and horsehide symbolized so much. The destruction of the ball that recursed the already cursed Chicago Cubs. This is Countdowns, live, exclusive, worldwide, international special coverage, and this is the Pre-Destruction Show, brought to you by me. It's Kill Ball Volume 1. The path the Bartman ball has taken to this evening is known to every schoolchild in America as surely as he knows of Paul Revere's ride, the one in 1777 west towards where Chicago would be eventually. 136 days ago, hit by Luis Castillo of the Florida Marlins, not touched by Moises Alou of the Cubs, touched by ill-fated Cubs fan Steve Bartman. Castillo and the Marlins then rallied to score 8 runs, largely because the Bartman ball was not caught. And the Cubs do not go to the World Series. As Bartman fled into seclusion, interviewed only once.
Can you stay in the Chicago area?
Do you like Howard Stern's butt cheese?
We've been had.
Oh, guess that wasn't him, was it? The foul ball was claimed by another fan known only as Jim the Lawyer from Marist High School, and it was auctioned for $114,000. Auctioned in order that it would be destroyed. Destroyed tonight, live, here, in color, exclusively, hours. Destroyed by means still secret. Our fourth story in the countdown tonight, there are many men we need to thank, as baseball's Yogi Berra once said, for making this night necessary. The batter Castillo, the fielder Alou, the fans Bartman and Jim the Lawyer, and of course the peace workers at Rawlings Sporting Goods. But without one man, their work alone would not have brought us an event that is at once both ridiculous and sublime. That one man would be Grant DePorter, managing partner of Harry Carey's restaurant, who bought the ball for nearly $114,000 and concocted this orgy of destruction tonight. Grant, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Obviously, if I said to you, how does it end for the ball, you will say, I'm not telling you, you'll have to watch. But when it ends for the ball, will there be anything left, and what would you do with it?
Well, originally we were just going to have it completely incinerated, but Cub fans said, hey, this is too historic an event. You got to have the mush left over so that future things, they want to mess with the Cubs when they're about to go to the World Series, this will be an example of what happens to you. So we're going to leave it here, and people can just kind of say hello to it when they want to.
Come by and visit the mush whenever possible. I know you did not spend that much money anticipating that this event would go off in some sort of publicity vacuum, but has the interest in this exceeded even your expectations? Why is this so big?
Well, I mean, Cub fans are global. I mean, we've had to wait since 1908, to win the World Series. So, it's just, we're waiting too long. It's just that we had to do it. So, it definitely got a little bit beyond what, anyone could have imagined. I mean, it went around the globe a few times, but, finally after 2 months, I mean, you were one of the first people to cover this in December 19th. We're finally here, and, like a few more minutes, it's going to be gone forever.
Except for the mush. A last point here that we should make before this gets started. You're doing a lot besides just trashing a baseball. I mean, you've raised about $1 million for the juvenile diabetes in honor of the great Cubby third baseman Ron Santo. You've made a midwinter holiday essentially in the Windy City here tonight, and maybe most important of all, you're essentially designating this as Let Steve Bartman Off the Hook night. Tell me about that.
Well, everyone in Chicago, I mean, everyone here, Dutchie, Carey, Ryan Saber, everyone I talked to said, that's just, every Cub fan could have done that. I would have done that too. Harry loved Cub fans, and, Steve is a Cub fan. So, I think tonight should be it. Let's move on. 2004, Dusty Baker, Andy McPhail, Jim Hendry. We're going to go all the way this year, It's Greg Maddux. Wow, 2004, it's it. Cubs tickets go on sale tomorrow, so I think it's time to move on. I think we're going to do it this year.
Yeah, doing this already got you Greg Maddux back. At least there's that. We know that for a fact. Grant DePorter, the managing partner of Harry Carey's restaurant. Many great and solemn duties rest on your shoulders tonight, sir. We are all pulling for you.
Well, thanks, Keith.
We'll see you in a bit. The curse of the Cubbies did not, of course, begin last October 14th when Steve Bartman did not quite not catch that ball. Some date it to 1945 when the team would not let William Cianis, the proprietor of the Billy Goat Tavern, bring an actual Billy Goat into Wrigley Field for the Cubs World Series. Others pegged the start at September 23, 1908, when the Cubs used questionable sportsmanship to wipe a critical loss off the books and wipe out the career of a New York Giants rookie. As part of our coverage of the destruction of the Bartman ball, Bob Fall reports that whatever you think about curses, and whenever you think this one began, think about the Cubs, and you will be convinced this one is for real.
What you must understand even now is that for long-suffering Cub fans, this wasn't just a muffed play.
Reaching into the stands and couldn't get it, and he's livid with a fan.
No, when the beloved Cubs went on to lose this game, it was confirmation that the franchise is cursed. No pennant in almost 60 years, no world championship in almost 100.
It's heartbreaking. I mean, it devastates you.
Painful even now for Cub fans everywhere. Long suffering, still suffering.
Being a Cub fan kind of prepared you for life, you know, that no matter how well things were going, you knew you were going to blow it somehow.
For the Cub Nation, what happened here at the so-called friendly confines is an indelible stain. The sight of that dropped ball akin to a sanctuary desecrated, a kind of Midwestern Blarney Stone besmirched.
Ah, yes, but what to do about it? At first, Chicagoans wanted to lynch, at the very least, tar and feather, Steve Bartman, the hapless soul who touched that ball. Now, they tend to make excuses for him. After all, he is a Cubs fan.
I would have done the same thing, and so would have you, and you, and you, and everybody else there. We all would have went for that ball.
As for that ball, Cub fans now agree it's just a symptom, not the disease.
Why they blow up the ball? Blow up the curse?
And if it means exorcising that demon, then Cubs fans, even former Cub All-Star second baseman Ryne Sandberg, agree, do whatever it takes.
If there's a curse out there, and if that's what it takes, then I'm all for it.
Where hope springs eternal.
But I think this year they're looking awful good.
Even when it shouldn't. Bob Fall, NBC News, Chicago.
The big build-up to the big bust-up, the pre-destruction show, our number 4 story on the countdown. You are looking live at the baseball in question, the Bartman ball, as it awaits its fate about 8 minutes from now. 4 other things you need to know about tonight's number 4 story, that our own viewers had some very creative suggestions on ridding this world of that ball. Number 4 from Edward in Loudon, New Hampshire. He would, quote, freeze the baseball in liquid nitrogen, then smash it with a cork-filled baseball bat wielded by a player on steroids. That could be almost anybody. Daryl from San Jose suggests shredding the ball, feeding those scraps to a goat, then letting the goat roam the outfield at Wrigley Field, where it would leave the sacred droppings to fertilize the outfield grass. Thank you, Daryl. An anonymous viewer in Kentucky says burn the ball, feed it to the goat, feed the goat to Steve Bartman, and then feed Steve Bartman to my cousin Mike Tyson. And number 1 from Charles, suck the air out of the ball. Quote, the insides are porous, you know, kind of like a sponge. Not really, no. Remember, you can email us anytime at countdown@msnbc.com or sign up for our snappy little newsletter at countdown.msnbc.com. And that'll do it for the pre-destruction show. Stay tuned for the destruction. If there weren't TV, you couldn't see this. If there weren't commercials, there wouldn't be TV. So we'll be back with the Big Bang. Bartman ball goes boom when Countdown continues. Stand by.
Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town. Chicago, Chicago, I'll show you around.